Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk, Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Molloy. Everybody that's coming into the chat, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, whatever platform you are on, come over here to the YouTube channel on Fins Talk Sports Network. Join Real Talk, Fins Talk. Join the chat. And if you're new, hit that bell down there and then share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. I'd appreciate that. And remember, we may not always agree everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we do agree on. We are all Dolphin fans. And with that, welcome to the show tonight, everyone. Appreciate you for joining wherever you're at. Yes, we have won another game. We beat the Washington Commanders in Madrid, Spain, 16-13. Couldn't be happier. And you should be too. So tonight's topic is, should we be happy, right? Should we be happy that our Miami Dolphins win? Yes, of course. To be honest, I wasn't one of them who was saying we should tank, that we should lose a bunch of games and pick a bunch of drafts, have a bunch of draft picks and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't really all for that. I'm a competitor. I've played sports. I'm sure some of you have played sports as well. And we always want to win, man, right? If we're competitors, we're participating in any kind of sports, we want to win. We don't want to lose. So, that's a bunch of hogwash, tanking or losing just for the sake of draft picks. Who cares about draft picks? I mean, sure, you want to have plenty of draft picks stocked up and all that kind of stuff. I get that, right? But it doesn't really matter where you pick in a draft as long as you've got a good scouting team, you've got a good run organization, good GM, good coaching, and all that kind of stuff, right? You could pick 32 in a draft and you come out with a great pick, right? A great pick. Unless maybe you're really specifically going for somebody and you're sure that's the guy you want and he's going to be a starter and he's going to participate right away, right? And he has a lot of potential, a lot of talent. I get that, right? How many times does that happen, right, in the draft? How many times does that happen? Especially with this organization, okay? So until they get the front office straight, which they've begun already, right? They let go of the two player of personnel just last week, and Chris Greer. I'm happy, and you should be too. This is a new beginning for the Miami Dolphins. That's the way I look at it, okay? I look at it as a new beginning. But before we get into all that, I just want to make mention that I will be dropping the link if we get enough folks in here in the chat. If you want to come up and you want to, give your peace of mind, tell me, or tell other Dolphins out there how you're feeling about the organization and how you see them, what they're going to be doing going forward. Are you happy about the win? Did you want to see them lose? I'm not in that ballpark, but anyway, let me start with the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins, right? We won. I'm happy. Played against a bad team. The Washington Commanders were a bad team. They were missing their number one all-pro defensive tackle. They were missing one of their really good wide receivers, and they had other injuries too across the board. And they were missing Jaden Daniels. They were missing him. Their number one quarterback. They had Mariota in there, which he had a decent game. If it wasn't for that one interception, he had a decent game. Okay, he played average, right? A backup type position. He had a nice run. Okay, but he's not Jalen Daniels. And as far as our quarterback goes, Tua Tagovailoa had an average game. Nothing spectacular against one of, if not the worst defense in all of the NFL. So he surely didn't move up the board or climb up that ladder as far as quarterback status goes in this game. He hasn't. He didn't. But just to show you how even this game was, right? Because it was pretty boring in the first half, right? It started getting, pick up a little steam in the second half and everything, and it went into overtime. And also, Mike McDaniel, in my opinion, he didn't call a great game. He made some terrible coaching decisions in my mind, right? On the goal line. And I also think they're overusing Achan, but I understand, right? I'm not arguing that. That's great. He's the shining star on this team. He's the offense right now, along with Jalen Waddle, as far as our skill sets are concerned, right? Our skill players, you know. And also, let's not forget Darren Waller is coming back next well, not next week, but after the bye. Darren Waller will be healthy, Austin Jackson to be healthy on our right tackle, and then we have others that are coming back as well. So that should help out. All right. Maybe Austin Jackson doesn't play doesn't get all the snaps. Maybe they'll rotate him and Cole Strange in and out, get him acclimated back into the swing of things again, because he has been out a long time. The same with Jay. I didn't hear anything about James Daniels, if he's coming back or not. Maybe you did in the chat. If you have, let me know. I hadn't heard anything about him coming back or anything. So, we'll see about that. Okay, because we definitely need some improvement in the guard position, right and left guard position. But Jonas Evanaya, we moved up for him in a draft to pick him. He's going to be here. He'll be here next year. He's going to be here the rest of the season. He's going to, unless something happens, he gets injured or something like that, he's going to be the starter on the left side, right? I mean, that's the best thing. You go up and get a rookie like that, he better start, right? And is he improving? Yeah, he's improving somewhat, a little bit, right? Along with our defensive tackles, Kenneth Grant. Jordan Phillips has actually been playing a lot better than Kenneth Grant, but Kenneth Grant he's improving a little bit. We got Zeke Biggers, hadn't played all year. I think in the last couple of games he has rotated in and out. He's been contributing. He looks like he could be a good rotational defensive tackle. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy. So let me just go over some of the stats in the game just to show you. Just like the Buffalo Bills game, not taking anything away from the Miami Dolphins. A win is a win. They won against a bad team, but they beat a good team. They beat Buffalo, okay? They beat Buffalo. Buffalo came in flat. Josh Allen didn't look really, he looked okay, but didn't seem like he was on point for some reason. Didn't seem like he was in the game. His head was in the game. I don't know. Maybe they got beat up, from the previous week playing the Kansas City Chiefs. But hey, we still beat a good team. Okay. Does that make the Miami Dolphins a good team too? No, not at this point. We're 4-7, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep that in mind. We're 4-7 until we're not. But so total yards, Commanders had 379, Dolphins had 311. Passing yards, Commanders had 207, Miami only had 142 passing yards, which I'm good with that. Rushing yards, Commanders had 172. We had 169, mostly Achan. Ollie Gordon contributed a lot too. He made some plays in that game. Made a nice run remember when we were backed up to the goal line there, and he made a nice 20-yard run. I think he made a first down and a touchdown. So he had a decent game. We ran the ball, and that's what we should be doing. We should take all the heat from Hatua. I think Mike McDaniel, if there's any adjustments that he's made or a formula that he's figured out, and I've talked about this on the Finn's TV show with Finn Sammy, it's nothing new. It's just that he's utilizing the running game now, right? And he's taking the heat from off of Tua. because Tua is, if you have to depend on Tua or carry this team or to win games, sure, he can win some games, right? It's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the reality of it. That's your dose of reality for tonight. Um, Yards per carry. Commanders had 5.9. We had 5.8. First downs. Commanders had 22. Dolphins 19. Third down efficiency. Commanders were actually 6 of 13, and we were 3 of 9. Okay. Fourth down efficiency, we're 0 for 2. Commanders were 1 of 2. Total plays, Miami had 54. Commanders had 64. Sacks allowed, we had 3 sacks. We allowed 3 sacks. Commanders only allowed 1. We only had 1 sack, and that was by Terrell Dotson, our linebacker. Total punts, we had 2 punts. Commanders had 1. Penalties, we were 4 of 39. Commanders had 6 of 31. So penalties hurt them a little bit. Fumbles lost. Here is the key. 1 fumble lost. We had 0. Interceptions, they had 1. We had 0. I get to give kudos to Tua. He did not turn the ball over. No fumbles, no interceptions on his part as far as turnovers go. Give him credit for that. That was a bad interception by Mariota. Terrible. Terrible. That probably sealed the game, right? Jack Jones jumping in front of the receiver and catching that ball for the interception. Now, bad pass, another bad pass by Mariota. But give credit to Jack Jones where it's due. Time of possession, we had 29-51. They had 32-36. Field goals. Here's another one. They missed 2 field goals. They only hit 2 out of 4. We were 3 for 3. Red zone attempts. They were 0 for 3 in the red zone. Defense tightened up in the red zone. We were 1 of 5. We got down there, but we couldn't punch the ball in. Still couldn't punch the ball in. So even with the talent that we had and the skills, right, we still couldn't punch that ball in. We had to settle for field goals. Now, if Washington Commanders, again, I don't know how this game would have turned out, but you got to put things in context. If they would have made those 2 field goals, score would have been 19-16 or maybe 19-13 because we did go into overtime. So it might have been 19-13 Commanders. So we really got lucky that they missed those 2 field goals. In fact, the kicker for the Washington Commanders was released after the game. He was released after the game. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, let's be happy about our team winning. Okay? I don't want them to lose, but we're still a bad team. We're still a bad team. And I know a lot of folks are, got their calculators out and they're doing all this figuring out and mathematicians. They're all mathematicians now, figuring out the odds and figuring out, if we win this game, if we win that game, and if New England doesn't, they don't start their starters, and if Pittsburgh, if Aaron Rodgers is out, which he probably will be, he was injured. He hurt his left hand, wasn't his throwing arm. Oh man, we have a possibility of beating the Pittsburgh Steelers, blah, 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 and this, that, and the other, and the Saints and the Jets and the blah, 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 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, they may not be playing for anything. And New England, if they don't start their starters, and they're not playing for anything, we could win that game and we can go 10-7 and make the playoffs. All right. Keep thinking that. Keep thinking that. Can we go 10-7? Sure, we can go 10-7. Honestly, I don't know if that's going to be enough to make the playoffs. If you want to take your math, you want to take your calculators out and do all the math and see if it, see what it adds up to. Or can we? Can't we? Look at all the other teams in that, what their records are, right? So we're 4-7, ladies and gentlemen. We're still a bad team until we're not. Okay. And I'm not settling for this mediocrity anymore, man. I know a lot of folks are. A lot of folks are just happy. Oh man, look, we're winning all these games. We're gonna go 10-7. We're gonna turn it around. So freaking what? What does that do for us? Blow our heads up? We make us feel good? A moral victory? Is that it? Is that what we all want? Is that what we're waiting for? Get another shot of hopium if we if we win 2 or 3 or 4 straight for another year of mediocrity next year? Is that what we're waiting for? Is that what we're happy with? I'm not. I'm happy that we win, yes. But even if we did go 10-7, I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that. And I know Finn Sammy over there at Finn's Talk Sports Network. I mean, Finn's TV. He's on Finn's Talk Sport Network too. But he was saying, if Mike McDaniel goes 10-7, he should get the Coach of the Year. No, he shouldn't. No, he shouldn't. Why? Why? Did Brian Flores get a Coach of the Year when we won 8 straight? Came back from 1-7? Did he get a Coach of the Year? No, because we were a bad team then and we're a bad team now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So I wanted to read something that Barry Jackson, he's been a reporter for, you all know him. He's been a reporter for the Miami Dolphins for over 30 years, I think. Like the guy. I really do. I like a lot of his reporting, a lot of what he says and stuff. I agree on a lot of things. Let me read you something that he wrote just this last week. If I can find it. Here. He says, I won't read the first paragraph or two, but I'll read where the meat and potatoes is at. Excuse me, where the meat and potatoes is at. Excuse me. He said, there is no evidence that this franchise can overhaul everything and build a championship team. None. So why carry the delusion that if they lose enough games this year for that crowd, I wasn't in that crowd. So if they lose enough games this year, they'll make all the right hires and signings and draft picks and become a powerhouse. So I encourage you to recalibrate your fandom. Be happy in little things like winning games. I'm happy. And being in the hunt. The sooner you accept this reality, the less angst you will feel. I am not accepting that, ladies and gentlemen. I am not accepting that mediocrity. In the hunt for the playoffs? Is that what we're hoping for? Is that our standard for our Miami Dolphins football organization? I got news for you, Mr. Jackson, and whoever else has this thought. I want better from my team. I want my team to improve. I do want my team to be a powerhouse. And I do want my team to win a Super Bowl or more. Why is that not obtainable? Just because we were like that in the past doesn't mean going forward we're going to be like that. Although history says, that we're just going to rinse and repeat. But we've got some hope. We don't have Greer. He did the right thing by firing Greer, Ross. Ross fired Greer. And he fired the other 2 personnel directors of player personnel in the Miami Dolphins organization. They're on the right foot, right? They've done the right thing. I think we're going in the right direction now. Okay, that's a start. We can't ask for that anymore right now during the middle of the season. We can't ask for any more right now. Let me see what thanks for joining B McD going on 30 years of in the hunt. It's time for a change. 100%, brother. I'm with you 100%, man. And that's why I don't buy the bull crap, this gaslighting, this indoctrination that we just have to accept the organization for what it is. I'm going to be talking, I'm loud. I'm going to be talking loud. I'm going to be raising my voice, and I'm going to be pointing out all and critiquing and pointing out all the things that this organization should do to get right on the right track. Now, I don't have all the answers, right? I don't. But I just have my opinion, right? Of how I see how they should get on the right track. Number one, they did the job of firing Chris Greer and the player personnel, the two player personnel that've been with this team forever. Okay, I was shocked. That surprised me. I was surprised about Chris Greer. I thought he would be a lifer here. I thought he had something on Ross, and he had the skeletons in the closet or something. I don't know. So that just goes to show that we don't know what's happening and what's in the minds of this organization. We're not flies on the wall in the facilities. We don't know. We're just spewing our opinions. We're assuming, we're speculating. Okay? So I think that's number one. Number two, they need to get a GM. They need to put a permanent GM in place, whether that's Champ Kelly or some other hire from the outside. I'd love to see another hire from the outside. That's what I'd like to see. Are they going to do that? Is Ross going to do that? I don't know. I'd like to see another GM from the outside and have him come in and, you know what? Have him decide on whether or not he wants Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa and whoever else on this team. Let him do that. If it's a year evaluation, so be it. Just as long as Miami Dolphins is on the right track and doing the right thing and making the necessary changes in order, or at least appear that they are trying to make the right decisions and make the changes that they need in order to maybe establish a powerhouse. It's not going to happen overnight. Although we've seen some teams, the New England Patriots, it happened overnight. But actually, it didn't, because they were probably building for the couple of years, and they got the coach in place. They got their quarterback. I mean, they had some core players there, and they filled in here and there. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe they can turn it over in one year, or maybe two. I don't know. Okay. We do have some pieces in place already, right? Even though Kenneth Grant isn't performing up to the standards that I believe of a first round pick should be, maybe he turns out to be a decent, solid defensive tackle for us next year or two. He's still young. He's still on a rookie contract, right? Jonas Evaniah, maybe he'll turn it around. Maybe they decide to switch him over to the right side where he played in college, although he's played multiple positions, tackle, left tackle, right tackle, guard, left. He's played those. I don't think he's played center. But he's going to be with us. He's a staple of this football team right now. He's not going anywhere for another 2 or 3 years. He's on a rookie contract. Jordan Phillips has been solid. He's on a rookie contract. Dante Trader, rookie contract. JJ Britz, he got hurt. He looked, we got a small sample size. He had a good couple of games, when he first started. He seemed like he was moving up, projecting up. Maybe he comes back next year if he recovers from his foot injury. So we have some folks in place. How good they will turn out to be it's an unknown right now, right? And we got a lot of, I guess every year we have a lot of folks, not a lot, but we have some folks that are on 1 year and 2 year contracts and things like that. Um, a lot of those players like Minka Fitzpatrick, I think he's on a 2 year. Uh, Ashton Davis, Malafanu, I think they're on 1 year contracts. They may not be here next year. Some of these folks that are on 1 year contracts, what's his name? The Brits, the linebacker. I think it's BJ Brits, the linebacker. Terrell Dotson. They'll probably be free agents next year, I believe. Um, we got Cater Kohu coming back next year. Jack Jones, I think he was on a 1 year deal. Rasul Douglas, a 1 year deal. So we don't know. And the thing is, if Jack Jones keeps playing the way he does throughout, the next 7 games, and he has some solid plays, makes a few more interceptions or whatever, he's going to want a new contract. Jordan Brooks, he's leading in tackles, although we know why. In the first part of the year, he was running after folks because they were going past the line of scrimmage, the running backs on the opponent's side, right? So he may want to get an extension. Who else we got? Austin Jackson. I think he's we got another 2 years with him. Are we gonna, draft another tackle, right? To kind of mentor under him for a year or so. I think Austin Jackson is a better tackle than Larry Bourne, although Larry Bourne had his best game last week against a bad team, of course. But he could probably be a good staple to keep as a backup, right? So we do have some pieces. Malik Washington, good utility guy. Is he a number one? No. Is he a number two? Probably not. We could probably use another wide receiver, maybe a couple big wide receivers for a change, right? Tua Tagovailoa, he'll probably be here next year, even though we get a new GM, right? Just because of the financials, because we got to get that right before we do anything. Okay, it's going to take us a couple years to get that right. The financials, the cap, and all that. Get it straight, get it cleaned up, all that stuff. Bradley Chubb, cut him. Tyreek, cut him. Right, clean the books, get them straight. And I don't think, as much as I would like for the Miami Dolphins to say "C'est la vie Tua" or find a trade partner, I don't know if we could find a trade partner. Maybe there's somebody out there that would like him as a quarterback. Are they going to take on his contract? No. That's the showstopper right there, is his contract. So I think we have him for another year. I do. And it's my opinion McDaniel will probably be with us another year. So, look, Mike McDaniel, I like him as an offensive coordinator. He'd probably make a great offensive coordinator somewhere. Head coach, it's not head coach material in my opinion. So if there's anybody that's watching other platforms or you're not in the chat, I've got the link in the chat. If you want to come on in and talk a little bit, shoot the breeze, give me your thoughts, you're welcome. I'll keep it open for the next 10, 15 minutes. And if nobody wants to come on, I'll probably close the show down. I just wanted to get on here for a few minutes. There's not much happening. We don't have anything going on next week. So, but I did want to, talk to you all and give you my thoughts of what I'm feeling. I know it's been terrible for us fans, right? We, ups and downs. What were they going to do on the trade deadline? Tua having a bad year. Our defense didn't look real well in the beginning. It was just bad, man. It was bad in the beginning of the year. I mean, I didn't think we were. I know a lot of folks probably thought we were bad. We're stunk. We're probably not going to win but 3 or 4 games and this and that. I didn't think that. I almost got into that category where I thought, oh, I don't know if we're going to win 3 or 4 games, maybe if we're lucky. It was looking like that. But At the beginning of the year, before the season started, I said we'd go 8-9 realistically, and if everything went right, no injuries, and the rookies stepped up, and they started to coming along and all that humming. I said maybe 10-7. We'd be 10-7 at best, and I said, but don't be surprised if we go 6-7. Now that still might be the case. We still might go 6-7. I don't know, right? That was just my projection. That was the floor. But I think we have more of a realistic chance of going 8-9 than we do 10-7. Okay. Could we go 10-7? Yes, it would surprise me. Would I be happy? Yes, I would be happy. I'm happy every time the Miami Dolphins win a football game. But right now, we're a bad team, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's just the facts. If you want to get your high and hope on winning against another bad team like the Washington Commanders that had the 32nd ranked defense in the league, okay, go for it. But I'm not going to be fooled, man. I'm not going to be fooled. We're still a mediocre team. We're a mid team. We've been a mid team for 7, 8 years now. But the hope is we did get rid of Chris Greer. Okay. We got rid of the player directors of player personnel. That's a start on the right track for us. And yes, I know a lot of folks have. There's been debate on whether or not we should have traded Achan or kept him. Uh, I was the one. I wanted to keep him. Okay, he's the shining star for this Miami Dolphins football time at present. The only thing that I'm afraid of is we're overusing him. And as you see in the game against the Commanders, he did get hurt, his back. I haven't. He's got 2 weeks to recover. I'm sure he probably would have been on the injury report if we were going to play this weekend. But he's got a couple weeks to well, all the players do, right? To recover, nurse some of their wounds, right? And then come back fresh. But to be quite frank with you, I'm very surprised that Achan has lasted this long. Through the year, this year, this long, because he's been overused, in my opinion. But who else do we have? We did have Darren Waller at that one point, right? And he's coming back. So maybe that'll relieve some of the burden on Achan, right? I'd like to see Ollie Gordon be utilized more. I know he had, I think, 10 carries this game. I'd like to see him have maybe, I know Achan had over 20 carries, right? So I would like to have seen Achan maybe get 15 carries a game, 12, 15 carries a game, 3 or 4 passes, a game. I like to see Ollie Gordon get maybe, 15, 20 carries as well, right? And because I think at some point, Achan just going to get overworked. And when you get overworked and you take a beating like he has, I know he's a tough guy for his size. 5'8", 188, 190. He's tough for his size. It's going to wear on him eventually, and that's going to be being more susceptible to injury. So hopefully we don't have to utilize him as much as we have. Tua Tagovailoa, that's fine. 15, 20 passes, 25 passes a game. Good. No more. Anything more than that, Tua seems to crack up. It seems to throw interceptions, bad passes, more bad passes, and arm seems to get tired. I don't know if you've noticed that. His arm seems to get tired, and then he throws those erratic passes and things like that, which are susceptible for interceptions. So I'm happy that the Miami Dolphins won this week. I really am. I always want my team to win. Um, I want them to get better. You know, don't let that article that if you read it, Barry Jackson wrote. Again, I'm not discrediting him. He's a good guy. Good, seems to be a good guy, and I like it. You know, a lot of what he writes. But I totally disagree on what he said about don't get delusional and expect us basically to be mediocre. Okay, maybe this year. Maybe this year. That doesn't mean it has to be like that next year or the year before. If we get it right, right? And I think we're on the right track now. I think we're on the right track now. So enjoy the win, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back next week on Tuesday again at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Talk about whatever happened this week and leading up to the game the following week. I believe we play the Saints, if I'm not mistaken. Um, the way I see it, we should beat the Saints. Okay, we should beat the Saints. We should beat the Jets. Okay, we should beat the Saints. We should beat the Jets. We should beat Cincinnati. I don't think Joe Burrow's coming back, especially if they lose this week. We should beat Cincinnati. Should beat the Jets. Should beat New Orleans. And that would put us at what? We're 4-7. That would be 7-7. I don't think we're going to beat. Although things can change, right? We'll do it. We'll take it week by week. But I don't think we're going to beat Tampa. I don't think we're going to beat the Patriots at the end of the year. And I do not think we're going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, even if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play. We're playing in there. I think it's a night game. It's probably going to be cold. Pittsburgh is a tough physical team. Maybe they surprise me and they win, but I don't expect them to win. So that's 3 losses right there that I'm gonna write down as loss. So that's let's see, that would make them 7-10. 7-10. They could go 8-9 though. They could. We'll see. I want to appreciate everybody for joining me tonight. Make sure you hit that like. If you hadn't hit that like button already, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that bell down there. Subscribe if you like the content. Share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. And until next week, ladies and gentlemen, God bless. And remember, Dolphins #1, baby. Dolphins #1.